Welcome to another edition of Abby's Power Lunch, your APL. Today I have the extreme pleasure of sitting down with the youngest and the first female CEO of Guyana Oil Company Limited, Mrs. Renatha Exeter. Renatha, thank you so much for joining me here today for lunch. It has been a privilege to follow your journey from the moment I saw your appointment to the position of CEO. I knew that I wanted to get to know you. So, like a lot of other women who have inspired me, I've plotted several things to get within your circle, and one of them was through the conference last year, and that was an experience for a lot of women. And so today, this has just propelled it more for me to be inspired by you. So welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Abigail, and thank you for having me. And you've inspired me by just what you just said. So that is pretty much how it works. It's a very circular world and journey for most people. And I'm very humbled by you wanting to know me in that way. Thank you.
You're welcome. For me, I think of a lot of historic things that have happened, and your appointment to CEO is one of them in Guyana. How does it feel to be in this moment at this time where you are right now?
Well, it's very humbling. It's been a very interesting journey, and one that I didn't imagine that was going to happen. So I am just very grateful and thankful for the opportunity to serve. This has been my first public servant appointment. So it has just been such an honor for me to serve at this level and serve my country at this level, because I've worked for many years within the private sector. So it's just been one of those things, continues to be a learning process every single day. Every single day I go to work, I'm learning something new. It's a new experience that I'm building on. So it's just a continuous journey.
Okay. And so to get to this point, I know there must have been an extraordinary journey in your life. So we want to go back to young Renatha. We want to go back to some of your fondest memories. You grew up in Georgetown?
Yes, I grew up in Georgetown, in the central Georgetown, in fact. I spent my very early years in Durban Street Lodge area, and that was like pretty early, because I moved from that area. I think I was around probably 7 or 8, if I remember correctly. and then my father was a police officer, and so he was part of the police force, and we moved to Pearl Street, which is right in the heart of everything. And that's where I spent most of my teenage years. In fact, I stayed there until I moved, became independent, to my own. So yes, all of my life I've started in Georgetown. I've gone to school in Georgetown. I started my very early education at St. Agnes Primary, and so I spent my time there at St. Agnes Primary, and having taken what was at that time common entrance, which is now grade 6 assessment.
Yes.
I was awarded a place at St. Joseph High School, and that is where I started my secondary education at St. Joseph High School. With my first part. After completing St. Joseph for the first 5 years, I went on to Queen's College, and I completed my secondary education at Queen's College. Coming out of Queen's College, I knew that, at that time I was, like you're in that crossroad where you're not quite sure, at least for me, I'm so proud of a lot of young people, now that, at a very early age, you already knew what they wanted to do, and they, started channeling that direction. I was not one of those children. I was just kind of going with it. I knew I liked business. I went into the business stream, and, I wanted to decide, do I want to come and work first, decide how that goes. But my parents were always huge in education. They were, you just stay in school, continue school journey through school. But despite that, I just decided I still wanted to take some time to have my hands or feet wet and in the working world. And so I started at Scotiabank. That was my first real job, as I would say, because I had like little things that I was doing in between. And while at Scotiabank, I immediately knew that that there's a bigger world out there. I spent 3 years there, but during my 3 years there, I fell in love with the banking sector at the time. I really liked finance, and so I naturally went to university. That's why I started my tertiary education, and I did my first diploma in banking and finance. Because that was just where I was at the moment. That's what I was exposed to, and I believe that that's where at that time it felt that this is what I was in love with. And so I did banking and finance, and then I moved from Scotiabank. And when I left Scotiabank and I completed the studies in banking and finance, immediately what stuck was the business side, that I really enjoy business. I really, I had a passion for entrepreneurship. I wanted to do, this type of development. So I literally journey off from that, and I joined, I started to work at Guyana Telephone Telegraph Company, GT&T. So those were, I still believe some of the most exciting times for me, for my professional career. And that is really where I believe that I found myself as an individual, where I wanted to go professional while I was there. And so I went back to university and I completed my first degree in business management while at the Guyana Telephone and Telegraph Company. So that is where that first part of my journey started.
So you had, a lot happening even from early on. You really didn't know exactly what you wanted to do.
Yes.
You developed a lot. So where's how you managed to pull it all together? I mean, you have your daughter, you have your family. I'm sure you have other things to do outside of work, and then you have this position, which is just a huge position for you. How have you managed to hold it all together?
Well, it's really with where it started, just your support base. And as I said before, what has changed is just I now have a little time to do a lot of things, but but outside of that, I think it's you. I have a really good support system. I have friends that I call family. So when I say family, it's inclusive of that. I have a core group of persons I call my girls. I have my fiance supports me. One of my biggest supporter. My daughter, on the other hand, is a little cheerleader by herself, and my sisters and my brother. And so I really have a good support base, and people that I can offload on, which is really important, in any journey. And you don't have to be a CEO or a managing director, at any level you need to have that, one person or group of people that you can offload on at any point in time, that you can turn to, that you can, bounce ideas off of and stuff. I don't feel as though I'm falling out or falling apart at any one point in time, because I have those boards that if it becomes too overwhelming for me, then I have them support. I can get a phone call away, text message away, like I said, mentorship. I've had persons, I've had someone in my life that has been mentoring me since I probably was in high school. She's all the way in the US, and I will call her sometimes or message her sometimes, and it's always, like I said, it's just a phone call away. And the important thing is to ensure that every time and every part of the journey that you don't allow the process to overwhelm you. That is what is important, because you start to get crowded, and that's where you just remain humble through it all, and just don't allow the process to overwhelm you. And then generally, that I've just just everyone that is around me support. We all part of the same faith, and so we meet together sometimes and pray together, pray for each other, and so all of this has really been, the sail in it all, and has helped me to continue to move forward.
So the Guyana Oil Company is Guyana's largest private public sector company. Is that it?
Just about right.
Okay.
Yes. So we're it's 100% owned by the government. The government is a shareholder of the company, and we're the largest distributor for fuel in Guyana. So we have over 56 stations, including company-owned and dealer-owned stations, and then we also have 3 terminals that we operate out of. So it's a total of 426 employees.
You sit at the top of it all. What is life like? What's a day like for you at work?
Well, I really, Abigail, I really do not want to continue to sound, as we will say, cocky, or you make it a cliche in it all. But even at work, I have a good support base. I've inherited a really good management team, and it makes me so proud because most of my, I think, the majority of it, I have a very young management team, and so it is something that, as the CEO, if you're managing well at every organization and you have persons under you that are managers to it, and everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, it's moving down in the tier, it doesn't make your job as difficult. Yeah. And so for me, like a typical day will just be ensuring that whatever is our mandate for that particular period, our court is followed, and I will use the channel through the staff or whatever means I need to do to execute that. So it is challenging because I really moved into a very new industry. I'm loving it. I really enjoy this. I enjoy all the ups and the downs, and there have been many downs. Just from you just move to different industries, a new world. Like I said, it's from I've worked 20 plus years in private sector. This is my first public sector. It was quite culture shock.
I can imagine.
It was quite a culture shock, and every now and then I still have some of those culture shocks, and they're less now than they were at first when I got there. But that is all part of what makes the journey really enjoyable.
Yeah, that's true. And so you're sitting on top of it all. That this company is predominantly a male. I would say that it is a male industry, as folks will say.
Well, good, and I think, the good thing for Guyoil in a sense is that we are balanced in terms of employment, male and female.
Okay.
However, the fuel and distribution and, because we're considered more in the downstream end of things, is notably more male dominated. But that's mostly like the upstream, and you get into like oil and gas. It has been changing, but the reality of it, it's still a very male-dominated stream. But I think that was one of the things I was really proud to see at Guyoil. Like we have, senior people, like persons like right to the top, like are both, I have both male and female. Like I think I have an equal amount of male and female managers across the company. So that has been really something that I've been proud of.
And I'm proud to know that Guyoil is embarking on
Yes.
with every woman who's either working in corporate world or private business world, there must be some challenges as a woman or as a woman who is leading a company.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges that you have faced or disappointment that you have?
Well, I think it's just basically one of the things for me is somehow there's an expectation that follows. Like I've had this a few times, and at first it was, it's something you never get accustomed to. You turn up for a meeting or you turn up somewhere, and there's two things that sometimes is an off balance. That A, you're female, or B, then, or you're a young female. So it's like, okay, this doesn't really seem like it's adding up. But I have used that really to, to be a positive drive for me. And I, in terms of like, I have not been offended by it. I've been part of, forums and conferences where, persons have shared, how offended it has been. And I think because I understand the realities, it's very different for a female as against a male, and those are just the realities that we have. And, once you understand those realities, then what is important is that, at least for me, is that I don't measure myself based on being a female. I just measure based on what I'm bringing to the table and what's my ability to do. And that sometimes can be the disappointment, because you're going with that positive drive, like, okay, I'm not going, like thinking that, okay, how will my male counterparts, how this will be received from them as against it would receive me. I'm just going with a very positive, outcome, and I'm expecting a positive outcome. And then sometimes you end up with not the results that you want. And when you really shiver it all down, it is the reality that has stepped in again. Okay, this is not the same reality for your male counterpart. But I think because of the job that I do and the day-to-day process of it, I cannot allow that to drive me or beat me, because I think the world is changing at a slow pace than we would like. But it is certainly changing, and as women and women in leadership, we just have to be the voice for other women, and just to continue to empower other women, not to be discouraged by the male dominance, that we're just as good as twice.
That's good.
Sorry.
We can say that.
Work was just as hard, but that's just the reality, that we just cannot allow that to discourage us. Just continue to look at everything with a very positive outcome. And like I said, of course, there's times, I'm not going to sit here that your lights are dim a bit, but that's where you just do that talk to yourself, recap, spend some moment, take some time away from what you do, take a break, which is very important. Like I set out when I joined this company, when I look at the scope of work, I set out to ensure that it's very important for me to maintain that work-life balance, maintain the time that I spend with my daughter. It may not be as much as I want, but just to maintain that balance, because you can quickly and easily become so consumed in it all. So once you maintain that, when those moments come, you're able to bounce back from it.
I literally am getting goosebumps just hearing your story. But we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the show. I hope you've enjoyed our interview and our conversation here today. I certainly have. Renatha, I'm sure you have a big year ahead of you. This 2019. Let us know some of the plans that you have.
Well, I am Guyanese, so of course, I'm excited about what's happening on the local front, being part of it. I often say, what a great time to be alive and living in Guyana. Yeah. And so I think, just from a personal standpoint, what I have been doing this year, I started since last year, but for this year, and moving forward, it's just, I've been talking all the time about being prepared, and I've been spending a lot of time reading, researching, understanding this new industry, understanding the pros and cons and the pitfalls of the emerging economies, because not only is it's going to help me, it's important for me just for my professional life, but it is part of my personal development. Is that I think oftentimes as Guyanese, we just have to invest the time in ourselves and understand. So when we are part of a conversation, this is what's really important for me. If I'm part of a conversation, I want to be, speaking from a very informed position. And so that is what I've been, snooping around on, spending my time. I've been reading reading on that, and it's just been really interesting because you read about all the countries and all the emerging economies and some of the things, and it's really really exciting. I think it's such, I don't know, I'm hearing this and a lot of, and sadly enough I'm hearing this a lot of times echoed from the foreign investors, or the outgoing U.S. ambassador was mentioning the same thing, is that and I wanted to hear it more from Guyanese, to where they can really hold on to saying that we have no imagination. We can't begin to imagine what is about to happen and how Guyana is about to take off. And I encourage especially young people, everyone should get involved, everyone should be in the know, ensure that you understand, this is so new for us, and that is why it's important that you spend time in investing in yourself and reading and researching it from the right sources. Because there's going to be so much opportunities that are going to open for young people, for Guyana as a whole. And, if we are not ready and positioned well, we're gonna join the line of the complainers and just be saying, okay, well, they came and they took all the jobs, or they came and they took all the opportunities. But if you are available and ready, and then there's no taking away from you. It's just as a distributor of fuel, and this is bigger sector of oil and gas, there's so much opportunities from a company standpoint that that we can diversify into. And so it's been I've been very adamant since 2018, and from the time I joined the company, to my management, my staff, getting them involved, ensuring that they're part of every conversation, so they have it from a personal standpoint too, and then they'll contribute that to the growth of the company. So the good thing about it's twofold. So that's what I'm doing, just on a personal end. Outside of that, just being super busy. Again, I'm a mom of an 11-year-old, and that is a full-time job of itself.
Can you imagine?
Yes, that's a full-time job itself. So when that is not taking my time and stuff, so it's just been there's a lot, so that is really the focal point of what's happening and my plans for 2019. It's just continuing to never stop learning. That's something I was taught, and I see it every day, and it's you just never stop learning.
Well, I'm going to enjoy following your journey this year and silently cheer you on.
Thank
Trust
you.
me, you have a big supporter in me. Now, for the young girl or the woman that's sitting here at home right now looking at this episode, I'm trying to figure out what next. What am I going to do next with my life? What advice would you give to her?
Well, one of the things that I will, it is something that was taught to me, and I see that work today, that I advise every young person, and that is just, education. And education, whenever we hear education, some young people get scared because they're like, oh, well, that means I have to study, or I'm not into books and stuff. That's not just what education is. I mean, if it is whatever you like doing or love doing or you enjoy doing, you just educate yourself and be the best at that. So if it is that you like drawing, then you just find out how you can be the best artist, how you can be the best at that. And so it doesn't necessarily need to be heavily academic, but just to ensure that you're the best at it, you're ready, you're prepared. And so that has always been my thing. It's been something that has been taught to me by my parents and my siblings, and I have seen the rewards of it, and so I don't know how to tell it any other way, so yeah, so just continue and just continue to push, believe in yourself, ensure that you just look for opportunities, don't doubt yourself, even like if maybe you doubt yourself, you just continue to push yourself forward, and you never know, just don't put yourself into a box, because it's a very colorful world, it's not just in black and white.
Renatha, thank you so much. It has been a treat. I have learned a lot. I have been motivated to learn and to educate myself and to, keep pushing. And even when I doubt myself and I laugh through it,
Yes,
just keep going.
exactly.
So before we wrap up, what is the motto that or the quote that you live by daily?
Every journey begins with a single step. So laughing right through it, that single step is writing the application. And I have heard this, it's the first time I've heard it. I was watching a television show and someone was actually sharing on the show this was something that their father told them. And I was like, wow. And I started to teach my daughter it because it has just been a life lesson that we cannot sit in the position where we are and expect things to happen. If we want to move to the next journey, we just have to make that single step. And even if it takes us a long time, if it was 10 steps, we just now only have 9 to make. So you can never go back on the step. You've already stepped that step forward. And so that has been my life, motto or quote. And it is something that I would just like to share with everyone. I know that just to continue to understand that, whatever you're going for, whatever is your goal, you just need to make the first step. Yeah, and you're closer to it than you were before.
And so there you have it. Every journey begins with a simple first step.
Yes.
Every journey begins with a first step. Renatha, thank you. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation today.
Thank you for having me, Abigail.
You're welcome. Bye.
Hope that you've been inspired by the many stories told here this past half an hour. Abby's Power Lunch tells the story of the women in business in their own voice. We view this not just as another television show, but as a tool of mentoring and empowerment. We believe that women rightfully taking their place in business is a successful underpinning of Caribbean economies. We would like to thank all of our producers in Georgetown, Guyana and St. George's, Grenada. We would like to thank the owners, managers, and staff of Pagoda Restaurant at the Courtyard Mall. See you back here next week